Welcome back, guys, to the Creative Encounter Podcast. I'm your host, Juiette Payne, and I'm so excited to have you guys back here. Hey, this is episode 6. We are moving. This is so cool, and you are here with us. Super excited. So, want to let you guys know we are on multiple platforms, and we'll make sure you go to each one and give us a like and a subscribe and all of that. So, if you go on YouTube and you're watching here, welcome. Thank you for being here. But on YouTube, please subscribe. We would love for you guys to do that. If you go on Apple Podcasts, we'd love for you to leave us a review. And on Spotify, give us a rating as well. That helps us to reach so many more people with this podcast. But today, we have a very special guest, my homie from over 10 plus years, Tiffany Daniels-Hudson.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hey, Ju. I'm doing good.
Good. So good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Yeah, so we're going to start right there. How you are now Hudson.
Yeah.
This is crazy. It's going to take me a while to say this because I still be saying Tiffany Daniels. So this is my girl,
Tiffany Daniels-Hudson.
Hudson now. So you just got married this year. Congratulations.
I did, yeah.
How's that been?
It's been great. So we got married in March. Yeah. Marriage has been beautiful. I feel like I've learned a lot about myself, a lot about my husband, and it's so much better just having a partner to do life with. Yeah.
That's so dope. I love it. And then it's like when it's like your best friend. Like,
it's
so cool because like when I'm with Gabby, you know, I usually hang out with the guys and stuff, and like now it's at the point where you just fall more in love. He's like, you understand our jokes, so like you're saying the same jokes that we said. So that's when he's like, oh, this person's perfect, you know. I love it. But man, that's awesome. So now Tiff and I have been friends for a long time, and we were at church together back at New Life Community Church, the Tri-Taylor location. And that was crazy how I even started there because I was going to UIC, so that's by UIC here in Chicago, and Pastor Danny, he used to be my youth pastor when I was super young, right? Hit me up and was like, hey, I need someone to just come and play bass this Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I Googled it, and it was like literally walking distance down the street from where I lived. So that's why I started fellowshipping there every week. And then Tiffany rolls in. I just like, man, this girl can sing. This girl has a heart for God, a heart for worship. But I don't think we ever got into like the inception of that. Like, where did it all start as far as you just loving worship, you know? Yeah.
So, I mean, I grew up like in a Christian home. My dad loves music, so he introduced me to so many artists, like Grits, Christian hip hop, Out of Eden, Chris Tomlin, and then we would listen to like Kirk Franklin. So it was like a blend of everything. It had a little hip hop, worship, gospel. And then I grew up going to church at St. Luke Church of God in Christ, which is like a Pentecostal church on the north side. And I was there probably since I was a baby, up until maybe like 15. And so I joined the youth choir there, and that's where I really got like my influence as a singer, as a worship leader, because my youth leaders would really like pour into us. And so I grew up under Jason Shepard and Ryan Booker. They were my music directors, and they really invested in us, like just as young people who were hungry, who liked to write songs. They would let us direct, they would let us lead. They would like do different arrangements with the music at that time, and like our youth choir was like, it was really, really good. And so from there I really got my love for like worship, but even just for music and like arranging things. I think it really came from there. And then fast forward to like freshman, sophomore year of high school, we started going to New Life midway. And for me, that was like, it was like a culture shock going from like a Pentecostal church to like New Life. But it was cool. So I like joined the youth group there, and it was all kids like playing instruments. So I was missing like the rhythm and like what happened. There's no key changes. But like I was just like passionate, like I want to learn how to play keys so that I could contribute. So in high school I started learning how to play keys, and then I started playing in the youth band and singing, and then eventually leading. And then maybe by like the time I was 18 or 19, we started coming to Tri-Taylor.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Now I remember, were you out of state?
Yeah.
Because I remember when you first came, your siblings were there. And then you came along later. I was like, oh, I didn't even know you guys had another daughter. And they say you were at some programs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was in Texas. I went to Texas right after high school and joined this ministry called Teen Mania Ministries.
Oh, that's cool.
And they had like a school of worship. So I was a part of that for a year. And my family had already transitioned to go to Tri-Taylor.
Okay.
So I was down there for a year. And then when I came back, it was like my youth pastor was going to Florida.
Yeah.
And my family was at another church. So I just decided to come with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
There we go. That's so cool. That's awesome. Now, you said something that sparked interest. You said back when you were in youth ministry, you guys were like writing songs?
Yeah, so my choir director, he's an artist, and he was an artist at that time. And so I remember one rehearsal, he was like, guys, I want you guys to start stepping up and doing more. And he's like, who writes songs? And everybody's like, Tiffany does. Because I used to have this book. I still have it actually to this day. I used to have this book that I would just like write poems and like write songs, and I would be listening to Switchfoot and Sanctus Real and like all these people, and I would just write like all my emotions out.
How old were you?
That was, how old was I? I had to be like, maybe like 15, because I think we started going to New Life when I was like 15 or 16. So maybe like 14 or 15. So cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so dope. I love that because that's something that I struggle with, like leading worship, in different churches and things like that, is I'm a songwriter. So I don't always want to keep doing cover songs a lot.
Yeah.
Wherever I'm at, I would love to have that dynamic to be like, yo, let's write something fresh. Like, that's what I'm always thinking about. Or, whatever season that church is in specifically, it's nice to kind of write some new songs and stuff. So that's something that's big for me, is like the whole songwriting. So to hear that someone was giving you guys permission and access to do that at such a young age, that makes me so excited. And I feel like that was already propelling you into like your next season.
Absolutely. Like looking back on that season, there was so much that I learned there and like from my leaders that now I'm like utilizing, like 15, 16 years later. And I feel like God knows like what he's called you to do. He's going to prepare you for that like early. It's not going to be like a surprise, like, it's like all these tools and skills that you're developing. You're going to see it later, Yeah.
Man, that's so good. I love that so much. Wow. Okay, so you kind of do the same thing. So you lead worship on Sundays. So are you worship leader or director? How would you call it?
So I'm considered the worship director. Yeah, and so basically, like, I train other worship leaders. So now I go to New Life Midway. I've been there for maybe like 4 or 5 years, because we kind of went to a few different locations, and then I came back to Midway. And so I train and develop worship leaders and develop the team, and, do all the behind the scenes stuff. But I lead, we have a rotation schedule, so I lead every so often as well.
That's awesome. So with that, how do you balance just juggling all of it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a songwriter, and with that, there's this whole thing of like, hey, I want to, push my music out. I feel like God has put these songs in my heart to minister to others, and not necessarily just in a small realm. Sometimes we be like, man, at a larger scale, we want this to be a song that's really reaching the church at large. And then how do you balance that with leading in the church? Because that's something, again, with me, that's something I would want to really talk to you about too, because for me, that's difficult, because I'm more so like, I like to be free on Sundays if like I'm performing somewhere, but I know you're locked into your position.
Yeah.
So how do you juggle all of that,
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a full-time teacher. I teach social studies aside from everything else. And so I have those breaks where like summer break is like 3 months, winter break is like a couple weeks. So most of my music that I've like put out, I worked on it during the summer and maybe like released it later. And so like that summertime is really like the time where I can really take time to like write, to think, to focus, to create. And it's just like I have all this free time. And so I feel like utilizing that time is ideal for me. And then like doing other things, there's a little bit of flexibility now because we have other worship leaders to lead, and it's not just me. But I feel like, I think there's just been different seasons. There's been seasons where I'm just focused on church and focused on my role there and what I'm doing. And then other seasons where I feel like God is speaking and I want to write, I want to create. And so it's not like I think like artistry is not like at the center of things that I do. Like it's not my main focus, but it's like something that I really enjoy that I've been able to kind of encompass with other things.
Okay, yeah. So it's all about just finding those pockets of time where you can actually execute what you're like passionate about and everything like that. Okay, that's good. I like that. Yeah, because I think something you just said right now was like the church that I was most recently leaning at. It was pretty much just me.
Yeah.
And that's where the struggle was. I didn't have a team.
Yeah.
So you're trying to be helpful at these different locations and stuff. God wants us to really be supportive in that way. But it can take a strain on you when it's just you and it's small and you're trying to build something. But it's nice that you have somewhere you can rotate. Just pretty much just any dynamic. Like you see that in scripture all the time. Like when you have a team and you're delegating, being able to delegate, that's what takes the pressure off.
Yeah, it does.
So I like that. I want to implement. I want to pay attention to something you said as far as just paying attention to different seasons. Because I can kind of see, like, there are some seasons where I'm kind of resting now and use that to kind of work on this. That's really good, yeah.
And I think, like, through those different seasons, God will, like, teach you stuff. Because it was actually a while since I had really written and released music. And I was, like, going through a lot of stuff, like, dealing with a whole lot. And I feel like out of that came these songs, right? So I feel like sometimes you might just have to, like, focus on marriage or focus on your relationships or focus on yourself, and then God will use that time and those things to bring that creativity out of you, And I think in this society and culture we live in, it's like, I got to be doing something. I got to release a song. I got to release a single. I got to do this. I got to do that. And like, sometimes God is just like, be still. Know that I'm God. And I got you. You ain't got to be, bouncing around all the time. Yeah.
That's so true. And it's so tricky, though, with our industry when you're seeing, singles and EPs and albums and stuff just dropping like every other month or every year and stuff. So it's this whole thing of just like, man, how do you stay, afloat? How do you stay in that, arena, essentially and stuff. So, but it is very healthy to pay attention to. This is just a season of life. It's like when I'm going to do a specific podcast episode on this, but just like a little bit is like when we had our first child, it was, even with that, I was still like going quickly, knocking stuff out. Yeah. It was like after the second one, when stuff started getting really tricky of like balancing and juggling everything, And I noticed, I was like, wow, like because I've always like, I have an idea, I'm going to execute it. I have an idea, I'm going to execute it,
Yeah.
And that was the first time I was like slowing down. I was like, yo, what is this? It was frustrating, But now looking back, I can see like, hey, all this was needed because I was working on building all these other things and stuff. So like you said, it's like whatever season you're in, just like chill. Yeah. God's like, because he has our best interest, at heart, It's crazy.
Yeah. I always think about like, if we didn't have social media and like the algorithm, what would life look like? Honestly, like as an artist, would you even feel that pressure?
That's so true.
Would you even feel it, And I think about that a lot because I'm like, well, I'm releasing this new music. I got to market. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I always try to think like, before there was social media, before there was like the Spotify algorithm, before there was like all this other stuff, how did artists release music, And of course you got to like look at the times and adjust and adapt to those. But I think there's also beauty in like just following God and letting him guide you through that process too. Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah, preaching. I'm like, no.
Bye, Juiette.
Like, that's so good. Snap. Oh, wow. Okay. I love that. That's crazy. Okay, yeah, because that really, because I'm telling you, I got stuff that I'm sitting on.
I'm sure.
It's like, it's literally recorded. It just has to be completed and stuff. It's just been a minute.
Yeah.
Like, man, I really want to get to this. But then also, like, there's been stuff I've been eliminating to really get sharp focus, which we talked about a little bit before we started recording. Stuff I'm trying to eliminate to really get laser focus on. These are the key things that I need to be doing right now. And that's helping too,
Yeah.
But, okay, so you have released music over the years. So tell me a little bit about, like, the evolution. Because, as time's passed, different records can sound different. Yeah. Just experiences, like you mentioned, can make the next song sound like something brand new and fresh. So tell me about, like, And then also, and I'm tying this together. I know it's a few questions, but I'm tying it with, again, both of us coming from that Pentecostal background.
Yeah.
Now kind of like the whole more
CCM.
Yeah, CCM type of. But then with that, it can create this whole new type of sound too. So like, how has that mixed in line with how your album and music has evolved too?
Yeah. So the first album I recorded, Joyful in Hope, that was 2017.
Wow, yeah.
And Gabe Lopez, Gabe is a good friend of ours. We literally sat in his living room and recorded that album.
Wow.
So like for us, it was an experiment. Like he was learning stuff, I was learning stuff. I had never done anything like that before. And it was just like getting our feet wet. So I had written these songs, and I think I had written some songs in the process, and we were just creating. Like that was just fun, you know? And I think from there, like listening to it, there were things that I'm like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. And you also learn yourself as a person, as an artist. You grow, you know. I was young, and I was like sick that whole summer that we recorded. I had like bad allergies, and literally God walked me through that whole like be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer, like the whole entire summer that was recorded.
He had you living through the
record. Scripture. Yeah. And I feel like from there, like I took some notes of what I wanted to do. And with me, I feel like music, it kind of goes in waves. Like whatever music I'm feeling at the time, I'm probably going to incorporate in the music that I do. And so like the next project, Above All Else, that was 2018. I really wanted to incorporate like some gospel feel to it. So I had like background singers. That's actually how I met, how Marquise and I connected, my husband. Yeah. That's a whole nother story for another podcast.
Right. We're going to have her back for another episode. Yeah.
On marriage.
On marriage, exactly. Yep.
But we connected, and then I wanted like that gospel undertones to it. And so like, that was like the theme of that. And then the singles I released last year, I was really feeling pop music a lot. And like my voice as a singer, I feel like you get the soul of gospel, but like the brightness and the power of like pop music. And then like I'm not a runner, so it's like CCM. So it's like all that together.
There we go.
It's all that together. And I was like, you know, I want to like have a pop kind of song. So that's what Get Ready is. And then Enough is more of a worship song, but like finding the people you want to work with on different things. Cause like you're a producer, you can come up with like all this other, you know, all this different stuff for your music. For me, I can play keys and like come up with a general sound direction that I want to go, you know. But like I need like a producer that will bring that vision to life. And so I connected with this guy like in Alabama. His name is Andrew Sharp, and I connected with him on Get Ready and Enough. During COVID, I posted like a thing to Upwork, which is like a website for freelancers. And Andrew sent me a demo reel of like his music and stuff that he's worked on. I loved it. It was like the direction I was going in. And so I sent him my stuff, and we've been working together, and I worked with him on most of the songs on this upcoming record. But I feel like this upcoming EP has a little bit of gospel. It has like acoustic. It has a little, I want to say R&B, but I'm going to say that loosely because my husband is an R&B singer, but the song that I wrote has like, I was thinking of him when I wrote it and like all his harmonies and how he arranges stuff. So when I wrote that one, I was thinking of him. And so I feel like my music just evolves in waves. It's what I'm going through. It's what I'm feeling. It's what I'm listening to, and kind of what I want to bring to life at that moment in time. And like, I had to be okay as an artist with being like, my sound does not have to be the same on every project. Like, you're going to get me, but you're also going to get what I'm feeling at that time. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, because listening to different records and stuff at times, you can be like, oh, even artists we listen to, you're like, oh, this album's completely different, you know, than that first one that we truly loved, you know. But then after you keep listening to it for a while, you start being like, oh, this is actually really dope. We're just kind of stuck in our ways sometimes. It's like, oh, we want it to be like this. But they're evolving too, and just giving each other that room to do so, and grace in ourselves too, because all of our circumstances and seasons should tie into our sound. That's what we're expressing to the world, and we're expressing what we've been through and different things like
Absolutely.
that. I love it. What's the name of the upcoming project?
It's called Forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so I wrote the title like after I might have been on the last song, and I was like, how do all these songs work together? And really the theme behind it is that we get to worship God forever, and that he is always constant. And so like a lot of the songs have to deal with like eternity and life after death and what that experience will be like. It's like this life is only temporary, but we get to experience glory in heaven with him. And like one thing that there's a few things that inspired that title, but my great grandma passed away this July. And that was the first time that I had seen like the process of death, like kind of watched her, kind of pass. And it was a lot. I'm gonna be honest, it was a lot to watch. But just thinking about like she lived this long life, she knew the Lord, and like she is now present, with Christ. And like one day we'll all be present with him. And like the life we live is hard. We go through ups and downs. We go through trials. We have exciting times, joyful times. But like we're anticipating, spending time with God forever. We get to worship him forever. So like what we do, we write, we sing, we play. Like that's something that we get to do in heaven, like for the rest of our lives. And so I really wanted the songs on this project to encompass that and for people to have hope, Yeah.
Man, that's beautiful. I love that so much. And you're going to be performing at the next Creative Encounter.
I can't wait.
So from the timing of the recording of this episode right now, this upcoming week is going to be November 19th. Tiffany will be performing at the next Creative Encounter. She'll be doing originals. If you guys know, Creative Encounter is all about, I love people to come out and do original music. Like covers are cool and all of that, but I want you to be able to show us what God has been putting on your heart. So she's going to be performing some of the songs. They're going to be doing some of the oldies, some of the new stuff, or mix
We're going to do a little mix. I'm going to bring out some of the new ones, and we're going to do it kind of stripped down, an acoustic set, which will be really fun.
Man, it's going to be a great time.
I'm excited.
I can't wait. That's cool. So listen, guys, so Creative Encounter, it's a free event. So you come out. We do ask, as it is a ministry, you donate to the night. That'll be amazing. We want to be able to keep this going every month in the podcast and everything that we do. But this is free. So you guys come on out and have a great time. Here's some amazing music. We're going to have a guest speaker. Just a great time of fellowship. It's going to be an awesome time. Now, Tiffany, I want to make sure, is there anything specifically that you want to promote or talk about? I want to make sure, while we have all of y'all here, all the links and everything you need will be down in the description, all that. But what else are we going to try to push out to these people?
So my singles that came out last year are out. Get Ready and Enough. You can stream them on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, everywhere. And then the Forever EP is coming out in January. So stay tuned for that.
I can't wait. What was that? What was the one where you in that really pretty dress and you on the street?
That was Above All Else.
Above All Else. I think I was the first person to purchase that.
Oh my goodness! Wow!
I remember you were promoting it, and then I had bought it, and I think I had texted you. I don't even remember if I texted you. I was like, I just got it or something like that. So I mean, maybe her mama and them probably got it first.
Oh my gosh!
But I'm just gonna believe the lie that I bought it first.
Thanks for supporting me.
Yeah, of course. So January is when the new one, Forever, is going to drop. So you guys make sure you guys cop that. It's gonna be amazing. Man, this was good. Thank you so much for coming out. Tiffany.
Thanks for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. So, guys, the last thing I want to say is that, again, Creative Encounter is a ministry, so please support. We will have the link if you guys want to support a one-time donation, or if you want to be a monthly partner with, it's under my ministry, Juiette Music. This is the outreach component of that ministry. So, really, we'd love for you guys to partner with what we're doing. And if you want to be a guest on here as well, make sure to message us. You can message me at Juiette@creativeencounter.org. But, once again, Tiffany Daniels-Hudson is going to be there on November 19th.
Can't wait.
Going to have a great time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.